What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Josh and John Luke. What's up, boys?
What up?
I'm here. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Josh,
I'm excited.
Josh, I'm here. That was like the most like corporate America middle-aged man. How's it going?
Well, I'm here,
aren't I?
You know, it's going.
Living the dream.
Guys, today we are joined by a very special guest making his reappearance on the show, and JL decided not to ditch his ass this time, actually showed up. You may know him on Twitter at geek_mill. He is the host of the Fantasy Futurist podcast, the futurist himself. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on today with us.
Hey, Simon, Josh, JL, finally. I am so hyped to be a part of this live event today. It's unbelievable. This is my radar of things I love to talk about. Football,
yes,
fantasy football, and scary stuff. Like scary shit. Scare you shitless. Like, that's what I love. So yeah. Sorry,
the perfect Venn diagram.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I always love the Battle Royale brackets, and this one's Halloween themed, the best holiday. I am all for it. We got some people in the chat already. Craig says today FYF does the mash. The Monster Mash. I haven't heard that song yet. I'm going to have to listen to it 20 times before I go to bed. Yes. It's such a banger.
I haven't heard that in so long.
Carlos is based on the thumbnail pick. I'm forced to assume that JL has transcended and he's now leading the Saints undead football team.
I am. Yep. That's how it happened.
He got the call from Drew Brees last night. The options were become an undead quarterback for the Saints or join Amway, and he decided to become an undead quarterback for the Saints.
I'm already an Amway, so I had to pretty much.
Guys, before we get into brackets today, two things. Number one, if you are here watching this, that means you're already on our YouTube or Twitch channel. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube or the follow button on Twitch. It is the easiest way to show your support for this show. And we got awesome videos coming out all the time. You want to make sure you're not missing. There were 4 pushed out today, so make sure you guys are subscribed over there. And I said his Twitter handle at the beginning of the show, but if you're not already following Jeff on Twitter, go follow him at geek_mill. And right in his bio, there's a direct link to his podcast. So make sure you go and subscribe to his podcast as well, the Fantasy Futurist podcast. You're missing out if you do not.
Seriously.
I am not a big name rapper. I am a fantasy football fanatic.
Not a small name rapper.
That's where the meek turns into the geek,
That's it,
Yeah.
Oh, Josh, making sense of the name right there. Before we get into brackets today, Josh, do you have any news for us that we need to go over?
I do. This actually broke yesterday during our stream. We did talk about it a little bit, but Devontae Adams was at the very end of the stream, but Devontae Adams was placed on the COVID-19 list, and he's very doubtful for Thursday night. You're not going to have Devontae Adams this week, it looks like. I think it hurts the whole offense significantly, but from a fantasy perspective, there are some Packers wide receivers that you can play this week. I recommend Allen Lazard above all of them, but that's just me personally.
Check out the new waiver wire video. We may or may not talk about Allen Lazard.
Boom! Let's go. Check it out.
I'm going to triple that. Allen Lazard is futures approved for certain. Go
pick up Allen Lazard if you want a startable, a fantasy wide receiver that you very much can start this week. Very much.
Yeah.
Geek Mill approved.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I love it. Outside of that, Michael Gallup has been designated to return from the IR, but the Cowboys have 21 days to put him on the active roster. That does not mean he's going to play this week, but he could come back anytime within the next 3 weeks. So keep an eye on it. Definitely do not want to throw him in my fantasy lineup his first week back. I want to see it happen first. The Eagles have traded Joe Flacco to the Jets.
Big news.
Huge news.
Is it?
We could just scroll past it. I mean, this
Super Bowl
Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets, in my opinion, for the next 2 to 4 weeks while Zach Wilson's out.
I think Jay had the best tweet yesterday of one of the scenes in the Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. Sorry, that Joe Flacco was the Thanos in this scene, and basically the line is, "What did that get you? Right back to me." And that's where the Jets are, right back to Joe Flacco. He just has a locker on rent there just in case.
Locker on rent.
At least Joe Flacco will be able to maybe support some of the fantasy options. I know we were excited about Michael Carter, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, give Corey Davis an elite quarterback, and he should be top tier, right?
If there's one thing to be said about this is Joe Flacco has always had a big arm. Yes. I'm not saying he uses it all the time or uses it appropriately, but let's just move on. This is Jimmy Garoppolo was announced as the week the starter in week 8. Trey Lance is still dealing with his leg injury. I think even if Trey Lance was healthy, I think Jimmy Garoppolo would be the starter. Anyone disagree there?
So. No,
not at all. Yeah, he's going to start.
I think Shanahan said that.
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Jordan Howard could be activated from the practice squad and play in week 8 with Miles Sanders dealing with his knee, his injury himself. Don't worry about it from a fantasy perspective. This just is negative news for Kenneth Gainwell, maybe. And the other options.
Like, could this backfield get more muddled? Like a little bit,
It's about to be.
Yeah.
I still think it's good for Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, they're not going to give all the carries to Kenneth Gainwell, and even if they bring in Jordan Howard, I think Kenneth Gainwell's usage will still increase.
You don't think Jordan Howard being activated is good for Kenneth Gainwell, though, do you?
I don't think it's good or bad. I think it's fine.
Okay. I agree with JL. I think Kenneth Gainwell is going to slot into that Miles Sanders, like pick up some of that Miles Sanders work, and then we'll see Boston and Jordan Howard fill the work that he was getting. Like Miles Sanders work. Yeah, Miles Sanders was not getting all the work. Neither is Kenneth Gainwell. That's why they activated Jordan Howard.
That's the problem with Miles Sanders.
And Boston Scott. Boston Scott got used a lot, so they'll use him as well.
Exactly. All right. So Jerry Jeudy, he's expected to play in week 8. Let's go.
That's exciting. Yes. That's majorly exciting.
It's so funny, Simon. We talked about the Jerry Jeudy Chase Claypool trade yesterday, and it wasn't redraft, so it's not quite the same. But when I went into sleeper, I think it was this morning, I realized I had sent that exact trade.
It was
rejected.
You mean in poll perception?
Yes, in poll perception. It was Dynasty.
Yeah, it was Dynasty.
I sent it in a redraft, but I was just like, what? Chase Claypool, Jerry Jeudy? We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Cortland. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I have a lot of Cortland Sutton everywhere, so that's why this is interesting to me, and I'm kind of still bullish on Cortland Sutton. Just because I have him, but also just I really like him still in this offense with Teddy Bridgewater still hopefully at the quarterback position. So
cool. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy play different parts of the field. Cortland Sutton's a little bit more of that deep threat, I'll say. He's a tall, big-bodied receiver, while Jerry Jeudy plays over the middle of the field. So I could see a world where they actually benefit each other.
Yeah, true. I would prefer Cortland, just myself, but
me too.
Jerry Jeudy has shown last year, even late last year, that that's what he does is be very versatile, line up in a variety of different spots for you. And when he has big games, they're big games. They're big, huge, like week-winning games.
Guys, Ramondre, the Rhino, Stevenson's game day status will be week to week going forward. This is concerning from a redraft perspective.
This past week was concerning for
really.
Well, it was inactive. That's kind of what this is saying. It's going to be week to week, so every week we're not even going to know if he's going to be suiting up. So
stash and dynasty, drop and redraft if you somehow have them.
Yeah, I agree.
Samesies, JL, samesies.
On the same wavelength.
And last piece of news we have, Diami Brown has a knee injury that could cause him to miss a couple weeks.
That
too
hurts.
Bad. Yeah. I was really excited for his potential. I mean, he still has that potential, though. It's not like the end of the world. It's just a couple weeks.
Yeah. But he's an exciting player. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. That's it for news. We have a couple questions in here already, or a trade that somebody threw in here. So we're going to go ahead and hit that.
Okay.
Bam said he's trying to buy low on Tyler Lockett after his terrible performance last night. So he sent an offer out, Hunter Renfrow and Robbie Anderson for Tyler Lockett. I'm not sure that'll get accepted, but if it does, that's a win for you in my eyes. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Redraft?
Yeah, that's the question there.
I assume this is redraft.
Yeah, but even with that, I mean, this is going to get rejected. It just doesn't seem enticing it just doesn't seem enticing at all. So it's a good try, but yeah.
Is it more enticing in PPR? If it's a PPR redraft league, are you considering this at all?
I will tell you this, while Russell Wilson's out, and we don't know exactly how long that's going to be, but while Russell Wilson's out, I'd rather play Hunter Renfrow over Tyler Lockett.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point,
Probably
Josh.
Not Robbie Anderson, but he's getting so many targets. It's ridiculous how many targets he's getting and not doing anything with them.
I'm almost dropping Robbie Anderson in redraft if I can.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
In 10-team leagues, he should be dropped.
Get him
12
out.
teams, like you can cross your fingers and hope for better production. But once Russ comes back, Lockett will be a fantasy asset.
Yeah. That's the big question too, is where's the big Tyler Lockett game that we've been waiting for real? So
it's not going to happen without Russ.
Yeah, after week 2, it has not looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All
No, Jay in here said squad ghouls. Good one, Jay. He's just feeling the Halloween puns. If you saw the tweet as well, he said, "Hey, Beautiful," and he also said, "Don't be a jerk-a-lantern." How many more of these Halloween puns do you have, Jay? Craig wants to know a little more about this Amway offer. We'll get you the details in the mail. We'll let Drew Brees call you personally.
I'll bring you in how I was brought in by bringing you to a sketchy McDonald's with a giant binder and going through it for 2 hours.
Jay said, I accidentally had Meek_Mill in the video description. He just, he got you confused.
That's okay. I won't tell you when my album is dropping yet, but we're working on some tracks.
Guess who's playing in my ears right now?
Meek Mill.
Meek Mill. Stuck in my ways.
How do I know?
Serendipitous.
Love it.
Wild guess.
Craig in here saying Duke Johnson to Miami, RB1. Is that confirmed? Duke Johnson to Miami?
Wow.
I've not seen that.
Even so, I'm not worried about it from a fantasy perspective, but it's a joke that Craig's putting here. He's like their other two running backs. He's not that much different than Myles Gaskin or Salvon Ahmed. I feel like they're both like quicker pass catching backs, more or less.
It won't happen, but Bruce Arians should let go of Rojo and let him go to Miami. But it will never happen. I mean, what could you imagine? Oh,
that would be awesome. Jay Wall's in. He says, "What's good? Love me some Halloween tears." Well, too bad we're doing brackets, Jay Wall. So maybe just tune in another day. Pengs Pick says Renfro gets no love. No, I love Renfro. He gets so much love on this show.
Simon loves Renfro. Nobody else does.
We are not dissing him. It's just a boom player like Tyler Lockett is someone I would rather have for the rest of season in fantasy than Hunter Renfro. But I have a lot of Hunter Renfro on my teams. There is no lack of love for Hunter Renfro. And Jay giving me a shout out for the Renfro call. No one else on this show gets a shout out for the Renfro call, just me. And Bam said the league mate with Lockett says he's intrigued by Renfro. Yeah, then you know what? You may have yourself a deal there if they're intrigued by Renfro.
Yeah, that the basis of that was, would they be willing to accept it if they have interest in Renfro? Push through and go get him.
Uneasy Ally says in a 10-team PPR dynasty, Ridley or Gibson, Tony in a late 2022 second.
Ridley or Gibson,
late second. Oh my!
Wow.
Oh my!
That's interesting. You know what?
Oh my!
It's a really close trade.
That's a really fair trade. Yeah. I'm going to go with Gibson and Tony in the late second here, even though everybody's kind of poo-pooing on this 2022 draft class and everything. I think there's still going to be some gems in there. And if you can steal one, it's still worth it to look. I'm not like trying to be an ageist or anything. That Calvin Ridley's like an older player in regards to like dynasty aspects. But the best thing is that you would get Gibson, who has a solid, tie in with that team, the Washington football team. Tony looks amazing. He's going to be a breakout star for certain, especially once they do something in the offseason here with the Giants. Yeah, I might go the Gibson Tony route here. I mean, Ridley's tough to pass up, but I think I'm going Gibson.
This one's close for me.
I'm with you, Jeff. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead, Simon.
Oh, I'm on the other side. I think I'm taking Ridley. I think Ridley's up there in consideration as like a top 5 dynasty wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And that is so valuable in dynasty for me. I probably value those types of receivers in dynasty more than others, but I'll go Ridley here. I've been downgrading Gibson a little bit. I went in with him very high, and now he's more in that like Josh Jacobs tier for me than he was at the beginning of the season. He was a lot closer to like the Najee Harris's, Jonathan Taylor's, but I've knocked him down a couple pegs, and that's probably the difference in this trade for me.
I'm gonna go the Gibson Tony side with Jeff. Just thinking about this in terms of a dynasty startup draft, where how big of a difference is there between Ridley and Gibson, right? It's like maybe a round or two, and then you're getting Tony, who I think's value is going to rise over the next year, at least next year or two, and could be more valuable asset. And you're getting a late 2022. Gosh, why can't it's too many twos?
I have trouble with that a lot of the time.
Yeah, 2022 second, and a 10-man league that's going to be a little bit more valuable because you're going to get have a little bit more access to those higher end players.
Josh, what do you think? Which side are you taking?
Ridley.
Ridley. Me and
Split.
Josh on the Ridley side. We split it perfectly uneasy. So go with who you trust more over here. I see some more questions in here, guys. We're going to keep on answering these questions throughout the show, but I want to remind everyone that we will also be live right after this at 4:15 Eastern time, doing nothing but answering your questions for fantasy football office hours. So if we do not get to it during today's show, make sure to tune in over there and we will absolutely answer it. We'll answer each and every one of your questions on that show. One more before we jump into our first bracket. Brian says, should I sell high on Mixon? I saw something saying that the rookie is stealing his touches on third down. Josh, we're going to come to you first on this one. Do you view Mixon as a sell high candidate, or is he someone you're wanting to hold for the rest of the season?
Yeah, he's a hold for me. I'm not trying to trade for him necessarily because I think he's producing just fine. For me, he's a top 10 running back, but back end of this, so an easy top 12 running back for me.
Yep, I agree with you, Josh. I think he's a top 12 guy, and those are you better be selling for a haul, and I don't know if you're getting that for Mixon right now.
Yeah, I agree. He's on the right team and right situation right now, especially with Chase balling out, taking a lot of the attention. Burrow's doing well and still dropping off passes to him, so hold him.
Guys, we are going to go ahead and get started with our first bracket. This first bracket is Week 8 waiver wire ads. So we're going to be going through who our favorite waiver wire ads are for this week. We've got 8 players on the bracket. We're going to vote in head-to-head matchups until we come away with one winner. We're going to come to you first, Jeff. The first matchup is Kenneth Gainwell versus Khalif Raymond. Which one of these players would you rather add this week on the waiver wire?
Oh, boy, I'm not going to spend too much time on this and think about it too hard. It's going to be Kenneth Gainwell. He is someone I have I've been very excited about the entire season. He's been one of the people that players that I've stashed in a lot of rookie drafts, especially with startup dynasties. He can immediately. We talked a little bit about Jordan Howard coming up, not really going to affect him. I'm really excited for what the opportunity is going to present itself for Kenneth Gainwell, especially in PPR. He can catch the ball. He has just a wealth of opportunity ahead of him. And I think Boston Scott's going to be a thing here too. But 8 targets last game, performed really well. Yeah, I'm on Kenneth Gainwell for this week.
One vote for Kenneth Gainwell. Before we move on, I just want to clarify. EG said Gibson, you've knocked him down a bit based on his performance while he's been injured in Dynasty. It's not just his performance while he's been injured. Much like with Josh Jacobs, us expecting him to take that step forward in the receiving game in his second year. I expected a similar thing from Antonio Gibson. The Washington football team has shown that they want to continue using McKissick as a pass-catching back. Makes me believe there's a chance they never want him to be that full workhorse. That's where the downgrade has come, not because of the injury or his performance while injured. It's the way the Washington football team has used him, and I see a similar path to what we saw with Josh Jacobs, a capable pass-catching back that isn't necessarily being utilized that way. Just wanted to say it's not just, he's injured, he's knocked down my rankings in Dynasty. But Jeff,
and
you
personally, for me, I've been a little bit lower on Gibson compared to the other rookies from last year. Not like low, but just a little bit lower.
Sure.
Yeah. Jeff, I'm in full agreement with you here. It is Kenneth Gainwell for me. Khalif Raymond had himself a game, but Kenneth Gainwell has a boatload of opportunity presented in front of him now with Miles Sanders out. So it's Gainwell. John Luke, are you going Gainwell or Khalif Raymond?
It's Gainwell easily for me. We've seen his target share increase heavily with Miles Sanders being out this past game, and I'm hoping that continues if Miles Sanders is out for any significant amount of time. He was already siphoning work away from him. We did see that start to change, which is why Miles Sanders was a buy low in the last couple weeks. But I think they're going to have to lean on him with Miles Sanders being out, and I think they drafted him for a reason. They're going to keep getting him involved. At this point, with the running backs the way that they are, I'd much rather have Kenneth Gainwell's for his upside than Khalif Raymond.
3 votes for Kenneth Gainwell. Josh, is this going to be a sweep, or are you throwing a vote to Khalif Raymond?
Khalif Raymond's getting done dirty a little bit here. I think he's a great
matchup.
waiver wire ad.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
He's getting a lot of targets. He's on the field a ton. The last 2 weeks, he's on the field over 80% of the time, 89, 81. But it's Kenneth Gainwell. He's a running back with a pulse. I'm nervous about Kenneth Gainwell's carries. Well, first of all, it's the team he's on, right? The carries are going to be spread around. We just heard about Jordan Howard getting activated, but yeah, he's involved enough in the passing game that he's the guy here.
Yeah, if the Eagles ever decide to give some carries away, he might really jump out there in standard, but PPR wise, I'm really interested in keeping him in stash.
Yeah,
keeping him on my stash, and then
Yeah, this season he hasn't cracked 40% of the team's running back attempt share. So it's a good point, Josh.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
So
pass catching running backs in PPR, just like Jeff said, are very valuable.
Yeah.
and we're about to talk about another one. Kenneth Gainwell is moving on to the next round. Before we do our next matchup, though, Cloudy Bobo wants to know, is it worth starting DK Metcalf with Geno at QB? He has players like Elijah Mitchell and Devontae Booker to play at flex instead. Jeff, we'll come to you first. Would you start either Elijah Mitchell or Devontae Booker over DK Metcalf in your flex while Geno's at quarterback?
You know what? I'm not going to go over DK Metcalf, but if I still think he's that good and that valuable as a piece. You drafted him for that. You're starting him as well. But Elijah Mitchell really showed me something during the Sunday night game, and I'm really excited to try to maybe trade for him. And I know the Trey Sermon guys are out there, Trey Sermon people that are out there that have the truthers. But Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell really showed that he really wants to take hold of this. It was against a nice front with the Colts. So if you feel like you're not in a good matchup with DK and you feel you might want to tilt that way, Elijah Mitchell, but you're keeping DK Metcalf in your lineup.
Josh or JL, are either of you starting? I'm assuming Elijah Mitchell over Devontae Booker, but would you start Elijah Mitchell over DK Metcalf in your flex position?
No.
Josh, you're probably the most bullish on Elijah Mitchell, so I'm curious to hear your answer.
I still couldn't do it. What's happening with Geno Smith is concerning for DK Metcalf. He absolutely is tumbling down my wide receiver rankings while Geno Smith's the quarterback, but he's still DK Metcalf. We saw what he did last night. It only takes one play. That's what DK Metcalf is, and I would leave DK Metcalf in my lineup. Mitchell's close. He's very close.
He's a wide, I have DK as a wide receiver, mid-level wide receiver too this week. Elijah Mitchell, he didn't get targeted at all this game, which is definitely alarming in PPR leagues. They gave him a bunch of carries, which is great, but that is just harder to generate as many fantasy points without those targets.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's expected. They've shown that they're not really wanting to use him as a pass catcher, and Juszczyk the past couple of weeks has been involved in that role. Not so much this past week, but the weeks prior to that, he was starting to gain some of that work.
Who's back.
JaMychal Hasty is back now
that's
as
right.
well.
That's true. Yeah, matchups don't look great. Chicago, Arizona, and then Rams for Mitchell.
Yeah,
so.
I would maybe hey, if you have Mitchell in redraft, I would maybe see if you can go trade him away.
One more quick one, Carlos. What this question boils down to is, should he be targeting Michael Pittman or Marquise Brown in a trade?
Yes.
Josh, we'll come to you first on this one. Which of those two players would you prefer to be targeted?
Michael Pittman or Marquise Brown?
Yes.
The arrows are pointing in a little bit of a different direction, I think, with the Rashad Bateman coming there. And Pittman's kind of exploding into this offense, but T.Y. Hilton's going to be activated soon. I'd rather have Marquise Brown, but Michael Pittman might be a easier buy, if that makes sense. So I'd rather have Marquise Brown. I hope that helps answer.
I think I'd rather have Marquise Brown as well. And I disagree a little bit. I think people might be nervous about Rashad Bateman, and you might be able to get a bit of a discount on Marquise Brown this week as compared to maybe 2 weeks ago. But it's a close one for sure. And EG says, so Meek Mill isn't coming.
Sorry.
We sent him the invite. He may or may not join.
Meek is tomorrow.
Well, he's probably with Kraft somewhere, so that's fine. He's busy. He's got stuff to do, I'm sure.
He's got stuff to do.
Guys, we are gonna move on to our next matchup. It is Brandon Bolden, running back for the New England. Why do I keep saying New England? New England keeps coming out. Brandon Bolden, running back for the New England Patriots versus Van Jefferson, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. I feel like I should say Brandon Bolden with the news on Ramondre Stevenson. Brandon Bolden got 7 targets, 6 receptions, 79 yards in this past weekend's game. He's gotten 4 more targets, I believe. Let's see, I have it written down in 4 of the last 5 games. Like, he's involved as a pass catcher in this offense. And if Stevenson is going to be inactive going forward, he's a guy you can add. But Van Jefferson has also been wildly involved in this offense the past couple weeks. He actually out-targeted Robert Woods in this last week matchup, and in 3 of his last 5 games, he's gotten at least 6 targets. This is a player that's involved in a high-powered offense, and he's on the field. I believe he was on the field for over 95% of the snaps last week. I want to get Van Jefferson now. He's a guy that you can plug in and play immediately, and someone that I could see taking on a bigger and bigger role as the season progresses. So I'm going to go Van Jefferson over the running back here. It's not often in these waiver wire brackets that we're picking the receiver over the running back, but that's where I'm going. JL, are you going Bolden or Van Jefferson?
I'm going to go Bolden. Yeah. Yeah.
You could tell that was tough to swallow for him.
That was tough. I do really like Van Jefferson's long-term outlook. While I agree with Simon that he, whenever he's on the field, he does do, he does make stuff happen. Whenever he scores a touchdown, he's fantasy relevant. He's great to just kind of throw in that emergency start type of, the slot whenever you need a wide receiver. But he hasn't been on the field for 94%. He was on the field for 94% this past week, but before that, he hasn't gotten anywhere close to that really, except for week 2. So I'm not super hyped to get a wide receiver who is going to be more that boomer bust sort of flex play, emergency flex play, because I think there's a lot of those available in redraft. My goodness.
In redraft.
New England.
Josh, where are you going here? Brandon Bolden or Van Jefferson?
This is very similar to the last one, Kenneth Gainwell against Khalif Raymond. Believe it or not, I actually think I might slightly prefer Khalif Raymond over Van Jefferson. That's a different question. I'm going to go Brandon Bolden here just because, again, running back with a pulse, he's getting the targets, getting the catches. I think that's going to be more needed in fantasy right now.
Jeff, it is 2-1. Are you making this a tie and sending it to the chat, or are you voting for Brandon Bolden and giving him the win?
Well, guess what, chat? It's going to be on you now because I'm going with Van Jefferson for certain. First of all, Josh, I agree. Khalif Raymond would be definitely a better waiver pick up this week than Van Jefferson. I do like Khalif's target share in that offense. But I do agree with Simon. Van Jefferson seems to have come on here in the last couple of weeks. He's getting some play here and targets. I'm a little concerned. It's more concerning of like Robert Woods, whose targets are still dwindling a little bit, and almost seems like he's touchdown dependent, even unless you're in PPR. He's still going to have a breakout game, Robert Woods, but it looks like Van Jefferson is kind of here in the mix, and I'm very interested. I would stash him. That's someone I would like to stash and just keep in that offense, especially just in case something may happen to another receiver, or say they decide to involve him a little bit more than they already have. So yeah, it's Van Jefferson.
I like that point, Jeff, real fast. If something happened to Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson would be an every week start at wide receiver.
Yeah, he would definitely slot right in. Now, he did play Detroit this past weekend, so that could account for some of the boosted numbers. But I'll be interested to see if they keep using him as he develops as a player.
Isn't that the same argument for the New England running backs though with the Jets?
It could be, yes.
Burger,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think the main difference is that Ramondre Stevenson is not there, so just competition for Bolden. But it's a great point too that Bolden might just be not very effective or used like he was last week.
Yeah, I just like JJ Taylor and I believe Harris, didn't they each get a touchdown this past game?
I was going to say there were.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
In a standard league, there were 3 New England Patriot running backs in the top 10 at running back for the position. In standard leagues, not in PPR, but JJ Taylor, Brandon Bolden, and Damian Harris were all top 10 options this week in the standard league, which is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, for sure. And his target share over the season has been pretty good. Especially, weeks 1 and 2, he wasn't used at all. I didn't really play, but from then on, he's been using and been getting targeted, which is good. 8.9% target share.
Not bad.
Jay in here voting for Van Jefferson, so that's 1 for Van Jefferson. Craig says Bolden. It is 1-1 now. Bo says Bolden, 2-1 for Bolden. Jay Wall says Jefferson, 2-2. Dave says Jefferson, 3-2. Jay says Jefferson, 4-2. But then Jay says Bolden, 4-3.
What's happening?
Johnny says Bolden, 4-4.
Oh wait, I forgot which
says Van. It is 5-4, and Pinto says Van. That makes it 6-4. EG also saying Van. 7-4. Van Jefferson is going to move on to the next round. The chat has spoken. Before we move on to our next matchup, we're going to answer a couple questions real quick in here. A reminder for everyone again, just if we don't get to your questions, we will be live right after this doing nothing but answering your questions. So make sure to bring them over there because we do have another bracket, a very important one to get through today. Rendon says, can't wait to drop Justin Fields. Had to start him in my 2 QB league. Don't stress though, boys. I got Allen and Murray. Thoughts on CMC and Barkley when they come back? They still rank top 10 for rest of season.
Don't drop Justin Fields in a 2-quarterback league, in my opinion. Just saying.
If you don't have any other options, for sure, don't drop them.
And to answer your question, yes. I mean, they may not finish top 10 depending on the amount of time they missed, but for that stretch of games, they're top 10 backs, Saquon and CMC. I don't see a world where I don't put them that way. Anyone disagree?
Not at all.
Okay, we got another question from Bam. Then Boyd versus New York Jets or Lazard versus Arizona this
Lazard. If Adams is out, which I fully expect him to be, but Lazard for me. And Arizona has a great defense. I gotta say that, but I'm still going Lazard.
I'll go Lazard if Adams is out. Boyd if he's not. Jeff, what do you think?
Same. Adams out. I'm putting Lazard in. Must start for sure.
John Luke.
I'll go Boyd against the Jets.
You stinker. I could see it in your face the whole time. You were making
a face.
You were making a face the whole time.
That's why you could see it in my face.
Bondi and users, what's up, boys? No pranks here today. Yeah, you got us pretty good the other day, Bondi, with that comment.
Sneaky mom.
Sneaky mom. Which side are you on? Full PPR, Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. I was fully expecting the last part of this to say something awful as I started reading it.
That's why
for Cooper Kupp and Josh Jacobs. So full PPR, Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison for Cooper Kupp and Josh Jacobs. Which side of this are you taking? Josh, we'll come to you first.
Cooper Kupp and Josh Jacobs.
Cooper Kupp and Josh Jacobs. John Luke, what do you think?
Same.
Yeah, that's the side I'm going with as well. Jeff, are you in agreement? Are you taking the Dalvin side?
Totally agreement. I'm still really bullish on Josh Jacobs coming off of this injury eventually, but it's easier.
I think it's just a chest contusion. They're on a bye this week, so I fully expect them to be just fine when they come off their bye.
Mm-hmm. Max in here, he says, I just traded away Chris Godwin for James Robinson. W or nah? If you needed a running back, I think this is a W. You traded a top tier wide receiver for a top tier running back. That's how I view it. Anybody unhappy with this trade?
Nope.
No, good.
No complaints here. We're going to move on to our next matchup. JL, you've got the first vote here. Rashad Bateman versus the tight end phenom, one of the touchdown leaders for the season off of only like 8 targets. CJ Uzomah. Which player are you taking through to the next round?
You just made my point for me. I can't pick DJ Uzomah because his touchdown rate is insane. It's just insane. There's no way he's going to sustain that. It's Rashad Bateman.
Rashad Bateman for JL. Josh, what do you think here?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman's looked really good, and TJ Uzomah's more or less like every other tight end between 10 and 20. So Rashad Bateman.
No love for Uzomah. Jeff, where are you going here? Uzomah or Bateman?
I'm very intrigued by Uzomah. The little that he has to do to garner you some really big wins at that position, especially in the last week. If you had Darren Waller and he went out last minute, and maybe you happen to have Uzomah on your team already, but like this week, Mark Andrews is out. So I'm potentially in a situation where I will be looking for Uzomah or like a Tanyan or something like that. But that being said, Bateman has too much of an opportunity ahead of him. Yeah, Marquise Brown is just really not enough for that Ravens offense just yet. Bateman's going to come on here and really, provide a lot of value for fantasy managers as well as Lamar Jackson. He's going to be able to be a nice little safety valve. He's been shown flashes already of being great, so I'm excited to start him if I have him.
3 votes for Rashad Bateman, and I'm also going to go Rashad Bateman. No love for Uzomah, even though the chat looks like they want Uzomah. EG with Uzomah, Peng's picks with Uzomah, but I'm going to follow the targets, and that's Rashad Bateman. I'm not going to follow the touchdowns that Uzomah is getting. So
Uzomah has 1 red zone target on the season. That's 51 amongst tight ends. One single red zone target.
No,
that is nuts to me with the number of touchdowns that he has. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
What is he just taking a lot of these like short yardage targets to the house or something?
Yeah, it's just like teams are like, oh no, Jamar Chase. Oh, Uzomah's just he's got a touchdown.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes.
Yeah.
The Bengals aren't passing very much, so I mean they're ranked 28th amongst all teams in team pass plays. So
you don't have to pass very much when Jamar Chase scores 100-yard touchdowns.
I know.
Yeah. They're throwing his bombs and scoring touchdowns. They don't have to do much else. So yeah, right.
Yeah.
Josh, we're going to come to you first for this one. It is KJ Osborne versus Khalil Herbert. Which of these players would you rather pick up off the waiver wire?
Khalil Herbert, guys. He is killing it. Just let's move on.
Jeff, what about you?
Khalil. It's Khalil Herbert. It's easy.
2 votes for Khalil Herbert, and it's also Khalil Herbert for me. I don't even care if David Montgomery's coming back the next week. I'll take 1 week of Khalil Herbert over KJ Osborne. John Luke, what about you?
Yeah, it's Khalil Herbert. Poor KJ. Every week he's on this bracket.
Just
Every
can't
week.
quite make it.
Yeah, every week. Never makes it past the first round.
One day.
We got Kevin here saying bird up. What's up, Kevin? Guys,
Hey,
real
Kevin.
quick before we go into our next one, we're going to answer a couple more questions first. Carlos messaged the Judy manager, and they said they would be willing to trade Judy for Knox straight up. And he's got Mark Andrews and Dallas Goedert. Are you guys trading away Knox for Judy straight up?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Slam that accept button, Carlos.
Hurry.
Yeah. Bang it yesterday.
Yeah.
Bang it yesterday. And then Jace the Muss 86 wants to know if we have any interest in Tunyon as a tight end this week, or if he's off his rocker thinking that Tunyon's going to see more targets with Adams out. Jeff, what do you think on this one?
I am very excited. No, you are
Both
not.
things can be true.
Just
Both
off your
things can be
rocker.
true.
Yes. Yes. True. Very true. Tunyon becomes a really nice start. Again, tiny needy teams. If you have someone on bye or injured or whatnot, I'm in a situation where I have to start either Gerald Everett or Mo Alley Cox in my home team. So yeah, I would rather start Robert Tunyon for certain. I think he's going to have a big week, especially if Adams continues to be out.
Completely agree there. And Jeff, we're coming back to you for this next matchup, our semifinals matchup, Kenneth Gainwell versus Van Jefferson. Which one of these guys is it for you?
Here's where it gets a little spicy. I love them both as stashes so much. I have both of them in a variety of different leagues too. Because of just what this season has been like, longer season, RB needy for a lot of teams. We've seen the injuries. It's Kenneth Gainwell again. He just has the opportunity ahead of him, PPR wise, especially dynasty wise, especially. Try to go get him if you don't have him. But if he's on your waivers and redraft in some of these 10, 12 team leagues, I hope you have the priority because he's going to be a league winner.
I'm on the Gainwell side of this too. I love the opportunity, and in a running back needy, Van Jefferson was enough to get me over a guy like Bolden, who was just getting the targets, not really any of the rushing work. A guy like Gainwell who's going to see both. I can't take a wide receiver over him really. So it's 2 votes for Gainwell. John Luke, where are you going here? Gainwell or Van Jefferson?
I'm gonna go Gainwell. It's super easy for me. It's Gainwell.
And Carlos is with us. He says, I'm riding the Gainwell train to the end, boys.
Yeah.
Josh,
for me as well.
It's a sweep 4-0 for Kenneth Gainwell, and we are on to our second semifinal matchup. I have the first vote here. It's Rashad Bateman versus Khalil Herbert, and you know what? This one's a little closer, but still, if I can get one good week out of Khalil Herbert, it's worth more to me than almost any of the wide receivers on the waiver wire. So I'm going to go Khalil Herbert. You should have added him 2 weeks ago, and if he's still on your waiver wire, you definitely should add him this week. John Luke, are you going Rashad Bateman or Khalil Herbert?
This one sucks. I have to choose.
Josh goes,
I don't know how Khalil Herbert's going to be used once David Montgomery's back. I think he'll be used more.
Less.
Yeah, but he'll be used
less than David Montgomery.
I'm gonna go Rashad Bateman here because, and this is of course team dependent and is outside of the scope of this game because I have to choose one. But if you're actually making this decision in your league, it's going to be dependent on how do you need Khalil Herbert, that rental for the next couple weeks. I would rather have Rashad Bateman though.
Josh, what about you? Where are you going on this one?
It's Khalil Herbert for me. Man, he just tore up the Buccaneers, who know everyone's looked horrible against so far. Khalil Herbert's a really good running back. When David Montgomery comes back, I do expect him to be the lead back again. But yeah, I'm gonna ride with Khalil Herbert.
2 votes for Khalil. Jeff, where are you going on this one?
It's tough here. I really love Bateman. I love the opportunity, but it's going to be Herbert because of just how dynamic he looked. You made the exact point. Against Tampa Bay, he looked phenomenal. So Herbert should be on your team already.
Now, this is tough.
Now we are in our championship matchup. Khalil Herbert's been fighting to win one of these brackets for the past couple weeks and just hasn't been able to get it done. And he comes up against another stout opponent in Kenneth Gainwell right here. JL, we are starting with you first. Is it Kenneth Gainwell or Khalil Herbert as your preferred waiver wire ad for week 8? And if this influences you at all, Pengs Picks FF says Kenneth gains yards well.
Oh.
Also, JL, you are muted, just so you know. So anything you've said, we can't hear.
Rosie barked, so I was like, I forgot I muted myself. I said I said Davis, well done. Nice pun. And then I said Kenneth Gainwell is what I said. That's what I did.
I like you rehashing what you said while on mute. Josh, are you going Kenneth Gainwell or Khalil Herbert?
I'm going Khalil Herbert. He's proven it, and they could both be the starter. We don't even know if Kenneth Gainwell will be that yet, first of all, but it could be just as long. It could be the same timetable. So I'll go Khalil Herbert.
Jeff, what about you?
Let me ask you, do you like Antonio Gibson? Do you like Darrell Henderson? You're going to love Kenneth Gainwell as well. They all came from can't miss RB University, Memphis. It's Kenneth Gainwell. Even before the season started, even without this opportunity already, he's been number one on my list for stats.
I like that a lot, Jeff.
You could convince me of anything, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff, I was about to say, if I wasn't on the Gainwell side already, I definitely am now. But that's where my vote was going. It is Kenneth Gainwell. I like the opportunity he was getting before Miles Sanders went down, and I'm excited to see what he does with Miles Sanders out. But get healthy, Miles Sanders. Come on back.
Please,
Guys,
please.
That makes Kenneth Gainwell the winner of our Waiver Wire Week 8 ads bracket. Congratulations, Kenneth Gainwell, and I'm sorry, Khalil Herbert. You have fallen just short of the victory here. Guys, before
Khalil, I apologize for these guys' mistakes. They just don't realize how good you are.
Before we move into our Halloween Monsters Battle Royale bracket, we have a question here from Steven. He wants to know, should I trade Robinson? I don't know which Robinson he's talking about, Allen Robinson or James Robinson. So, Steven, if you could clarify, Robinson and Khalil Herbert for A.J. Brown, Tony, and Hubbard. I'm assuming James. Otherwise, this really doesn't make sense. So let's assume James Robinson. Which side would you guys want? James Robinson and Khalil Herbert or A.J. Brown, Kadarius Toney, and Chuba Hubbard? Josh, we'll come to you first on this one.
He already has Zeke, Eckler, Ridley, Deontay Johnson, so he's strong at both his running backs, both his wide receivers. This is a tough trade. James Robinson and AJ Brown the rest of the season, I would project them very similarly in terms of points, but James Robinson, he's a running back. Howard and Khalil Herbert are very similar in my mind as well. And then you got Tony on that other side there. I think I ever so slightly lean the James Robinson side of this one. But this is super close for me.
Yeah. James Robinson wise, this is close. I'd rather stay on that side here. I love AJ Brown. I think he's coming on here. I think he's going to start really breaking out even more so. But yeah, that's really hard to get away from James Robinson. He seems pretty sewed up as well. Zeke, Eckler, Ridley. James Robinson.
Yeah, I'll take the top 12 running back since it's very close. I'll take the guy who's a top 12 back. That's where
he looks great. He looks great so far. He's coming along nicely.
Pangs Picks FF wants to know Sutton and Barkley for Mike Williams. What do you think? Saquon Barkley. I wouldn't do it. I can't do it. He said he's got legit RBs and has Saquon available to trade. You got to get more for Saquon, man. I think you got to get more for Saquon than just Mike Williams. I wouldn't even do Barkley for Mike Williams straight up.
I get why it's a question.
Yeah. But I think you can get so much more in my eyes.
Got to. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on to our next bracket. This is the Monster Battle Royale bracket. So we are going to go through these matchups one by one. These are Halloween monsters that are going to be battling in head-to-head fights. We have to determine who is the winner. And Jeff, we're going to start with you first. Up first, we've got the werewolf versus the headless horseman. Who is the winner of this matchup?
Well, listen, I love some headless horseman lore and some movies based on it. Sleepy Hollow, solid, right?
Sleepy Hollow, solid
movie. But anyway, in regards to the headless horseman, the monster, I just can't go away from a character that can change into a wolf at any point. Well, at one point. And I'll say at any point, but it's only specific
at a very particular point.
Although he can hide amongst just everyone else, do his thing. If they're gonna fight, they're obviously gonna fight on a night where he can come out. I'm gonna go to the werewolf here. I think he's just a stronger version.
Depending on what kind of werewolf we're talking about, they can just transform at will a little bit too.
Yeah, wasn't it like? I'm not a Twilight person, but
they just get furry.
They just spark some hair and then
once they can learn to control it, they got to learn to control their powers first.
That's And
Jeff, I
I'm going
agreed with
werewolf.
one thing you said. I love some Headless Horseman lore. If you've never watched the anime Durarara, go watch it right now. There's some Headless Horseman stuff in there, and it is such a cool show. But did you guys know that the Headless Horseman is completely impervious to all harm that is not caused by mystical means? The Headless Horseman
did not.
cannot be injured unless it is by mystical powers. And a werewolf, those claws aren't mystical. They're just trying to shred you. It is the
A
Headless
werewolf is
Horseman. for me.
mystical, period.
Yeah, I
A
feel
werewolf
like,
is mystical, but its attacks are not mystical. Those are not mystical attacks. Just like if a wizard attacks you with a sword, that doesn't magically
good
make the
point.
sword magical, unless
not
they
necessarily
imbued
true.
it with magic powers. The
But-
sword itself does not have magic.
I feel like
Love
you
it.
just argued
That's a good
against
point.
yourself, though.
No, I argue. Tell me, like, if a werewolf scratches you, is there magic imbued in those claws? No, it's
Yeah,
just
don't
a
they
scratch.
turn you into a werewolf?
If you're saying the werewolf is mystical and the werewolf is the weapon, then yeah, right? Because like the werewolf would imbue its claws because it is mystical.
The werewolf doesn't necessarily imbue its claws with magical power. Its power is growing claws. The claws then aren't magical.
It
The
just
power
grows
is
some
look.
ordinary ass claws.
The power is like, look. No, you guys are acting like I'm jail.
Long
I'm gonna
fingernails.
fight your ass. Just go ahead and vote.
So cat scratch, okay, scratches or mystical flying head. flying
If
out.
you're
Okay,
gonna
I get it.
fight
I get it.
against
Cat
me,
scratches
at least
suck.
be
They
reasonable.
do.
Jail, go ahead and tell me all about how werewolves slice you with magical powers instead of just with freaking wolf claws.
A tale as old as time. Teenage boys and girls have been smashing pumpkins. It can't be that hard to kill a headless horseman. Just smash that pumpkin. You're good to go.
There you go.
You know it. You are so ignorant. 2 votes for werewolf. Josh, are you going
You
werewolf
elitist.
or headless horseman?
I'm sorry, Simon. It's a werewolf for me. A mystical werewolf, obviously.
The mystical werewolf.
There's a
with
bunch of
the
different
view.
variations of werewolves, and I don't know. I think it's gonna mess up the headless horseman still.
Man, you guys are
get what you're saying.
sleeping on the headless horseman. Just absolutely
Eh.
sleeping. Whatever.
Yeah.
We are moving on
It's
to our
fine.
next matchup. We've got the zombie versus the mummy, and I've got the first vote here. I'm just so drained from that last one. I
They're
don't
very
even want to.
similar, first of
You
all.
could tell Simon put his heart into that one.
He
Like,
re-
was
he-
so
he
ready
thought-
for that first round.
Every bracket, there's like one thing that Simon is just like irrationally
and I feel like he never
Hones
wins it
it.
either.
funnel cake,
Oh,
headless horseman.
I mean, you guys just disrespected the hell out of the headless horseman. That was absolutely
Jeff
ridiculous.
didn't. Jeff loves the headless
I
horseman.
gave him some pro.
I mean, you voted against him though. I don't know here. I like the mummy ride at Universal Studios, and that's pretty scary. So I'll vote for the mummy here. JL, where are you voting here?
Is the
If
mummy
it influences you at all, Pengs Pick says mummy is a zombie with armor.
Oh,
armor?
And, I mean,
So
it's
weak-
shitty
weak
armor,
ass
but
armor.
it's
It
still
is.
armor.
This is a slow moving matchup. I'm gonna go with zombie. I don't even know, how does a mummy kill you? Like it just strangles you?
I think it
I
could
don't
do
know.
zombie-esque things to you.
But its mouth is covered up. It can't bite you.
Not all the time, Yeah.
yeah.
Pokes a
I
little
think-
mouth.
I
out
think
there.
doesn't
They
the
got
mummy-
the open, like the little strands, like. Ow.
Don't you think if it became sentient and came out of its tomb or whatever, one of the first things it would do would be to uncover its mouth?
Maybe.
Like,
If it doesn't need to breathe or eat, then maybe not. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just content with having it covered. I don't know.
one vote for
Here-
the zombie. Josh, where are you going here?
Here's my thing. Have you guys seen The Mummy?
Yes.
Yeah,
that
Brendan
mummy's
Fraser.
kind of he's kind of a badass. That
And
mummy,
that's the one
that
the
mummy-
ride
that
is
mummy's
the
doing
ride is
stuff.
based off of that I'm talking about is based on that
Yeah.
movie.
The scariest
So-
part of that movie was the beetles that crawl under your skin.
Oh, yeah.
You're a
Oh, I
beetle.
hated
my
that.
goodness, that
I
was the
hated
scariest
that.
part. For
Scared
sure.
the hell out of
I
me.
agree.
For certain.
The
Yeah.
gold ones, like, right?
Yeah.
Going with mummy here.
Mm.
2 votes for mummy. And Jeff, where are you going on this one? Mummy or zombie?
I got to split it here and go zombie.
Ooh, we need
I
help.
love the
Oh,
mummy.
man.
I love me some Brendan Fraser. But let me tell you something. If I have a Halloween monster that can in turn turn other people into the same Halloween
That's a good
monster,
point.
into an army of monsters, yeah, I'm going with that group. It's a numbers game for me.
Yeah, I mean, mummies can't recruit other. I mean, how many mummies are there?
The
really
mummy
in the
had an
world?
army of mummies.
but
We've-
it's not going to be
The Mummy
comparable in size
3, I think
to-
the third one, which was horrible. There was like a
Yeah.
big army of
Yeah,
mummies.
They were all horrible. Josh.
Okay, guys, we've got some votes in the chat already. Jay says mummy. Jay Wall also says mummy. And you know what? I half want to count Peng's picks as a vote for mummy because he says mummy is a zombie with armor. But we can wait
what
for your
about
official answer.
Kevron there saying I've killed millions of zombies, no problem at all? You know,
There'll probably also be a vote for Mummy. It looks like Mummy's going to win this unless we get some last minute zombie votes in here. We're going to go ahead and give it to the Mummy with the votes from the chat. Mummy moving on to face off against Werewolf. And Victor says, does a Mummy have 10 ply TP? It's 20 ply. That shit is 20 ply. It is strong.
It's mystical TP.
I'm going to fight you.
And it's mystical TP. Love it.
Everybody watching, I see your questions in here. We're going to try to answer as many of them as possible during this show. But if we do not get to them, a reminder right after this at 4:15 Eastern time, we are live for Fantasy Football Office Hours doing nothing but answering your questions. So make sure you tune in over there. And EG, thank you, my man. We at least think we're funny. I'm glad someone else thought so for once.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it. And he said, seriously, how are you discussing the actual laws of things that are made up?
That's what it's all about.
That's kind of our thing.
That's what it's all about.
That's why I came back. I wanted to.
We take things incredibly too far.
Yes.
And EG said, "I'm so sorry, EG. Thank you for clarifying for me. I'm glad you tuned in to watch. My apologies. Should not assume that. JL, witch or goblin? Who is going to win this fight?
It's got to be witch. Come on.
Okay,
Goblin?
thank God. You were gonna fight
Witch?
so hard, JL. Like we were going to really.
I can't wait till we get to my turn.
Like if you just assumed that I was going to take goblin here. No, it's witch. Easy.
I just assumed you seemed like a goblin guy. You seemed like you're gonna be like a witch. They have a stupid hat. It's got to be the
goblin.
goblin.
What that means.
Josh, are you going witch or goblin here?
So listen up. Goblins, they're really creepy. They're little green. Witch is beating a goblin. A witch is beating a goblin. It's not even close. A witch can literally do magical spells. The goblin doesn't stand a chance.
Is it bad that I'm assuming it's Scarlet Witch, which is like incredibly more powerful than every other witch?
Totally. If it's Scarlet Witch, then we have a winner already. I think.
Yeah.
Kev wants to know, what is a goblin? Like Dobby from Harry Potter?
Yes,
that's a house.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah,
that's an elf. That's a house. It's like
Oh, that's true.
Isn't there?
Goblins like
there are
live under
goblins in
bridges,
it.
don't they? They're
that's a
bridge.
troll.
Oh, that is a troll.
Right?
Oh,
No,
we are
goblins
so
are
bad.
just like a mixture of like it kind of looks like Dobby and mix it with a troll, but the size of Dobby.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
they're-
Googled goblin and a romance show came up. I don't understand. It doesn't even have goblin in the title. I'm so confused by that.
Jeff, where are you going here? Witch or goblin?
The only goblin I'm interested in is the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. So I'm not going to stir the cauldron on this too far. It's witches. Witches, y'all. Witches, spells. Oh, do you need me to fly somewhere? Hey, hop on my broom. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go with witches.
You tell me this thing's gonna fight a witch? A little
No,
dancing,
kinda looks
prancing
like a
goblin,
witch.
little
No
hairy
way.
ass dancer. No way.
Jail, get that off my screen right now. I am no longer
Who drew
interested
that?
in
Which
seeing
one
that
of you
anymore.
drew that?
No, we are getting rid of that. That is preposterous. It's witch. Moving on. Unanimous vote. And Victor said, "Well, lads, I got off work, and when I grab a cold one, I tend to migrate here." I love
My
hearing that,
man.
Victor. That is absolutely awesome. Jay Wall said, "Witches give stitches," and Carlos
Witches
said,
give
"No,
stitches."
fam, witches get stitches." Our next one, Josh, you've got the first vote here. It is Frankenstein's monster versus a vampire. Who is going to win this matchup?
I think the majority of vampires are going to take down Frankenstein's monster. While he's very strong, he's got superhuman strength, kind of. I don't know. I think the vampire's got the speed and is going to be able to take him down when it comes down to it.
Sorry, I cut out for a second there. What was your answer? Vampire for Josh. One vote for vampire. Jeff, we are coming to you.
Sure. So I'm just going to go here and say I am not interested in a monster that can go out in the daylight, can't go to Olive Garden because garlic.
Might just get you with your while you're enjoying your unlimited soup and salad.
For real. I mean, like, no thanks. I have to be invited in places. No, I just want to kick the door down. That's why I'm going with Frankenstein's monster. There's also a key figure here that is missing in all Frankenstein's monsters and monster lore in general. Frankenstein's monster has heart, y'all. So he's not only going to make the fight well, he's also going to make sure that no one else gets hurt. Even those villagers with all the pitchforks and flames and all that stuff.
I think that hurts him. I think that sets the vampires apart. They don't give a crap.
No.
He's going to take down Frankenstein's monster. Yeah.
I'm going
You got
with
nothing to lose.
I'm going with the empathetic Frankenstein's
Empathetic.
monster.
Empathy wins.
Empathy wins.
When I first saw this matchup, I thought it was an easy slam dunk for Vampire. But then I started doing some research, and you know what? We have some source material on this. We don't have to guess who wins this fight.
Van Helsing.
I was going to say the 1971 movie Dracula versus Frankenstein, and that is the ultimate vampire, the ultimate vampire Dracula. You can't think of a more quintessential vampire. And you know who won that fight? Frankenstein. The fight continued too long in the day. They were in the forest, and the sun's rays melted the vampire, turning him into a pile of ashes.
Spoiler alert! I mean,
1971 is way outside of the whatever that word is.
Simon, I can't believe you brought up that movie. Everybody knows that the premier documentation on vampires versus Frankenstein is Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl, the 2009 Japanese gore film. Okay. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows
that. Monster, JL. Who are you voting for based on that one?
I don't know. I've never seen that movie. I just Googled it. I'm going for Vampire. I think Wit's gonna win out here.
We need chat help again. But this also took place in Van Helsing, the movie Van Helsing that came out in the mid 2000s.
Is that the lead singer of The Doors?
Guys, we've
Van
got
Helsing fights Dracula.
AB says vampires are wusses. This one's easy. So
I want to see you fight a vampire. AB.
One
just
vote
give it to
for
Frankenstein's monster.
Jay said Frankenstein's monster. Jay Wall said Frankenstein's monster, but Andres said vampire. But this is going to go to Frankenstein's monster with an upset over the number 2 seed.
Frankenstein's monster built in modern time would be a badass one.
Come on now.
And Jeff, we are moving on to you for this one. The werewolf versus the mummy. Who are you taking in this matchup?
Wait, what would be the difference between modern day versus old day?
The parts that he's built with, I assume the tech is better. Yeah.
You get
more
it's just
tech.
like he's like you don't see his stitches. It's just like
he'd probably look a little bit more android-y.
Oh, so now
he's got like
bionic Frankenstein.
His stitches are like carbon nanotube stitches now, where they're like impervious as opposed to just like cloth stitches.
Bulletproof stitches. I gotcha.
Bulletproof stitches. Jeff, are you going with a werewolf or a mummy?
Going to go back here with the werewolf. Again, mystical claws or not, I'm still hyped about the fact that this thing, a werewolf can just, one, hide in plain sight and then come out and then really just terrorize and tear apart a mummy. I mean, especially a mummy. Slow moving.
No armor. Weak armor.
No armor. Weak armor. Bandages aren't doing it, y'all. It's werewolf.
And Jay just said it. We forgot to put Gronk in here.
We did forget to put Gronk in here. Frankenstein's monster or Gronk.
We should just throw NFL players in these battle royales. Van Jefferson or Mummy?
I am going Mummy here almost exclusively out of spite that werewolf shouldn't even be in this position. There is very little other reasoning. I can come up with something, So Mummy, if I'm thinking Mummy, I'm automatically assuming like a very powerful ruler that was buried in a large tomb. And this ruler, once lifted from the dead, would be able to raise his dead army with him to take out the werewolf. So we're going with the Mummy. That's the reasoning I'm sticking with. JL, are you going Mummy or werewolf?
I feel like one swipe of the mystical claws and this mummy's done for. It's got to be werewolf.
What's he gonna do? Die? Like he's already dead.
He'll get chopped in half and then he'll just be on the ground like litter.
He's just gonna shred him apart.
Basically. 2-1 for the werewolf. Josh, where are you going here?
I'm going werewolf, guys.
God! If werewolf
wins werewolf.
This, I'm quitting. I quit the show if werewolf wins this bracket. So if you guys have been looking for an easy out, just go ahead and vote for werewolf in the last round, and you can knock me out.
Easy vote then. No.
Okay, guys. The next matchup: a witch versus Frankenstein's monster. And Frankenstein's monster, you had a good little run. You had a good first round win, but a witch is going to mess you right up. There's too much power in a witch's spell book for you to even pretend to compete with her. You're not even getting close. It's a witch. John Luke, are you going witch or Frankenstein's monster?
I'm with you, Simon. It's witch.
2 votes for witch. Josh, which one are you picking, the witch or Frankenstein's monster?
I'm almost tempted to go Frankenstein's monster just because I think it'd be a better finals matchup. But I'll go witch.
3 votes for the witch. And Jeff, what about you? Is this a sweep or are you going for Frankenstein?
Complete sweep. It's witch by a mile. Too many potions, too many spells.
Smells. So many
too
smells.
many smells. There's probably
it gets
smells.
overwhelming.
Potions. Yeah, it's the potions. Yeah. It's that cauldron.
Very sensitive to perfumes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just easy. Clean sweep.
And we are moving on to our finals matchup. This is it to determine who would win the Halloween Monster Battle Royale. We've got the 1 seed Werewolf versus the 3 seed Witch. In jail, we are starting with you.
Man, this might have been a tough one if I didn't want Simon to be angry so badly. A werewolf's just going to charge a witch. He's just going to charge it, and witch is going to be like, try and get a spell out and then just get wrecked. So it's werewolf here.
What? Okay, that's fine.
I'm
Josh?
tempted. I'm having trouble here. It's the W's.
Come on, Josh, do it, Josh.
I'll go with Witch.
No.
We've got 1 vote for Witch, 1 vote for Werewolf. Jeff, where are you going here?
I know that I was higher on the Werewolf coming in as that seed, and I know he's sparked a little controversy on the way here, but it's going to be Witch. I think the spells, the spells, and the smarts are just too much for the Werewolf to get by. It's a Witch.
Yeah,
come on, Simon. I know you want some self-hatred.
I've been looking for a reason to quit this show with you, buffoon. So I'm just kidding. No, the werewolf may charge at the witch jail, but witches can shapeshift. Witches can cast protection spells. This isn't like a defenseless, like, oh no, a werewolf's charging. What am I ever gonna do? This witch is prepared. Not its first werewolf it's going up against. It is the witch. And the witch is our winner of this bracket. And it looks like the chat.
There's Zards on the COVID-19 list now.
What? No. Wow,
hey, Amari Rogers
pivot.
season.
At least it's before waivers run.
That's true.
I'm not worried about
picking up Amari Rogers
or Cobb.
Cobb might be
Tunyon.
I was gonna
really
say all this receiver talk. It's Robert Tunyon that I'm most interested in now at the tight end position. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on today, my man. You helped us determine that Kenneth Gainwell was our favorite waiver wire ad this week and that the witch would win in a Halloween Monster Battle Royale. I really appreciate it. Everybody watching, if you are not already following Jeff, what are you doing? You've been watching this and you didn't go immediately find him on Twitter. He's on Twitter at geek_mill. And make sure you go subscribe to his podcast, the Fantasy Futurist podcast. He is spitting awesome knowledge for you over there. Jeff, thank you so much, my man.
Oh, I appreciate it.
EG wants to know, is Jeff single?
Listen.
Woohoo!
I already asked them. I want to know too.
Yeah, Jeff, are you single? Let us know.
Come to the Futurist Foundation Discord and you'll find out if you.
Okay, look at that. Look at that little teaser from Jeff. No, but
wasn't at one point we were going to do a FYF dating show?
Oh,
we did say that.
Sign me back on for that. That'd be hilarious.
When your mom was trying to set Josh up with Anna.
That's
what it was.
We were gonna live stream your first Zoom date.
Yeah, we were gonna be
on the channel.
We were gonna be the crossover between fantasy football and dating. It's a very small niche, but it's there.
It's there. The Fantasy Bachelor.
Yes,
that's what it was called.
Always.
Trading makes fantasy fun, guys. That's going to be it for us for right now, but we will be live in about 10 minutes on this same channel doing nothing but answering your questions. So if we did not get to your question during this show, hop back in over there and we will answer any and every fantasy question you've got for us for week 8 and beyond. Until then, though, that is it for us, guys. We will see you shortly. Adios, everyone.
Watch out.
Stay
for
water
werewolves.
out there. Yes.